Hey there, Simple Mindspace listeners. Ready to dive into a topic that's impacting all of us, the economy and how it plays into the upcoming election? We're talking about consumer confidence, inflation, and whether our wallets were fatter under President Trump or President Biden. Let's be honest, the economy is on everyone's mind. We see the headlines, feel the pinch at the grocery store, and worry about making ends meet. But here's the thing. The economic picture isn't always as clear-cut as it seems. We often hear about strong economic indicators, low unemployment, a soaring stock market, but those numbers don't always reflect the reality for everyday folks. Recent surveys show that a majority of Americans believe the economy ran more smoothly during President Trump's term. In fact, consumer confidence in the economy has been significantly lower under President Biden. But why is that? One major factor is inflation. Remember those sky-high prices we saw in 2022? Yeah, that's inflation, and it eats away at our purchasing power. Even though wages have risen under President Biden, they haven't kept pace with the rising cost of goods and services. So, what used to be an everyday purchase can suddenly feel like a luxury. That daily latte or a quick meal out, suddenly those become budget busters. The situation has led to a disconnect between what the economic data says and what people are experiencing firsthand. It's almost like living in two different realities. Economists might point to a booming stock market, but if you're struggling to afford groceries, that data feels meaningless. Now, let's rewind a bit. When the pandemic hit, both President Trump and President Biden signed off on stimulus packages intended to cushion the economic blow. While these measures provided much-needed relief, some experts argue they also contributed to the inflation surge. Think about it. An influx of cash coupled with supply chain disruptions created a perfect storm for rising prices. Too much money chasing too few goods equals, you guessed it, inflation. To combat this, the Federal Reserve stepped in and raised interest rates. While this move aims to cool down inflation, it also affects things like credit card interest, car loans, and mortgages. It's a balancing act with real consequences for consumers. So where do the two presidents stand on this? It's important to note that pinning the blame or giving credit solely on one president is an oversimplification. The economy is a complex beast influenced by countless factors, both domestic and global. The pandemic, for instance, threw a wrench into everything. It's unprecedented in modern times and makes direct economic comparisons between administrations incredibly challenging. We simply can't ignore the seismic impact it had on everything. President Biden argues that his administration helped pull the economy back from the brink, pointing to job growth and a strong stock market as evidence. His supporters also emphasize the role of the American Rescue Plan in reducing child poverty and supporting families during a tumultuous time. Critics, however, counter that the American Rescue Plan exacerbated inflation. They argue that the stimulus package, while well-intentioned, injected too much money into the economy at a time when supply chains were already strained. On the other hand, President Trump's supporters maintain that the economy thrived under his leadership. They credit his policies for a robust pre-pandemic economy and argue that the job losses during his final year were a direct result of the global health crisis, not his policies. Ultimately, the economy is a key issue for voters. How Americans perceive the current state of the economy and who they believe is best equipped to manage it will undoubtedly play a significant role in the upcoming election. So what can we take away from all of this? First, economic reality is deeply personal. Just because the numbers look good on paper doesn't mean everyone feels it in their wallets. Second, presidential impact on the economy is often overstated. The truth is far more nuanced. And finally, understanding the complexities of the economy is crucial for making informed decisions, both at the ballot box and in our own lives. That's it for today's deep dive into the economy and the upcoming election. If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode with your friends. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep those simple mind space questions coming.